Hey guys, it's your girl and today we're getting real, like seriously real. So let's talk about something the media loves to twist and turn, the U.S.-Pakistan friendship. Now you've heard the headlines, you've seen the opinions, but have you ever stopped to ask what's actually going on behind the scenes? This isn't about fake news or surface level drama, this is about power, influence, strategy. And the truth, nobody's really saying out loud. So if you're ready to dive into the real reason, America's backing Pakistan, buckle up. Because once you hear this, you won't look at international politics the same again. The relationship between the United States and Pakistan has long been shaped by deep-rooted geopolitical interests, particularly in the context of South Asia. While the surface of this alliance may seem inconsistent, at times friendly, at other times strained, the underlying motivation for America's continued engagement with Pakistan is driven largely by strategic necessity in a region marked by volatility, nuclear powers, and rising global competitors. South Asia is one of the most critical geopolitical zones in the world, and Pakistan's location at the crossroads of Central Asia, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent gives it undeniable strategic value in American foreign policy calculations. One of the biggest factors shaping this relationship is Pakistan's proximity to Afghanistan. For over 2 decades, the U.S. war on terror and its involvement in Afghanistan placed Pakistan in a central role. American troops, intelligence agencies, and diplomats relied on Pakistani cooperation for logistics, supply chains, drone operations, and access to key regions, even when trust was low between the two countries, such as after the discovery of Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad. Washington understood that disengaging from Pakistan could cause more harm than good. In this way, Pakistan became not just a partner but a necessity, serving both as a launching pad for operations and a political bridge in negotiations with the Taliban and other regional players. Furthermore, Pakistan serves as a crucial counterbalance in America's broader regional rivalry with China and Russia. As China rapidly extends its Belt and Road Initiative, including heavy investments in Pakistan's infrastructure through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC), the U.S. sees the need to maintain leverage and presence in the region. Although Pakistan is growing closer to China economically, the United States knows that it cannot afford to completely lose influence there. Diplomatic and security relationships help the U.S. retain some sway over a country that could otherwise become an uncontested ally of Beijing. Maintaining even a limited partnership with Pakistan gives the U.S. a foothold to monitor and manage China's increasing presence across South Asia and beyond. Moreover, Pakistan's rivalry with India adds another layer to this complex geopolitical equation. India has emerged as a strategic partner for the United States in recent years, especially in terms of trade, technology, and defense. However, the U.S. also understands that favoring India too heavily could push Pakistan further into the arms of China or Russia. Therefore, America continues to engage with both countries to balance its interests and avoid escalating tensions in a nuclear-armed region. This balancing act is not only diplomatic but deeply strategic. It reflects the desire to maintain equilibrium in a region where one misstep could lead to broader instability or conflict. Another crucial point is that Pakistan holds considerable influence in the Muslim world. As one of the largest Muslim majority countries with a powerful military and a central role in Islamic diplomacy, Pakistan helps the U.S. manage its image and relationships in the wider Muslim community. In times of global unrest, religious extremism, or rising anti-Western sentiment, having Pakistan as a moderate and communicative ally can be useful in diffusing tensions and spreading diplomatic messages. Washington understands the power of narrative and optics in international relations, and Pakistan helps it reach an audience that may otherwise remain skeptical of Western motives. In addition to regional and religious diplomacy, Pakistan's military is one of the strongest in the Muslim world, with a highly trained and nuclear-capable force. This makes it both a potential threat and a powerful ally. U.S. defense strategists often calculate that it's better to work with a powerful military actor than to alienate it. Through military aid, training programs, and shared intelligence, America ensures a level of control, cooperation, and access that it would lose if the relationship were to deteriorate. This level of military cooperation serves not only immediate security concerns, but also long-term strategic influence in a key region. China's growing influence in South Asia has become one of the most significant drivers behind the evolving dynamics of U.S.-Pakistan relations. As China rises as a global superpower, its economic, military, and strategic footprint in the region has expanded dramatically. This shift has not gone unnoticed by the United States, which views China's ambitions as a challenge to its own dominance, not just globally, but particularly in key regions like South Asia. As a result, America's approach to Pakistan cannot be separated from the broader competition with China, especially as Beijing deepens its ties with Islamabad through economic projects, military collaboration, and diplomatic alignment. At the heart of China's presence in Pakistan is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC), a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure and development initiative that forms a central part of China's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). Through CPEC, China has invested in highways, railways, power plants, and the strategically vital Gwadar port. This port, located near the Persian Gulf, offers China direct access to the Arabian Sea, which could significantly reduce its dependence on sea routes controlled by U.S. allies and military presence. The U.S. sees this as a strategic concern, as it enables China to bypass choke points like the Strait of Malacca and project influence deeper into the Middle East and Africa. Washington fears that such access could also be militarized over time, giving China a new naval and surveillance presence in a region traditionally under U.S. influence. The economic leverage China gains through CPEC also translates into political sway. Pakistan's increasing dependence on Chinese loans, investments, and diplomatic support is altering the balance of power, with growing Chinese involvement in critical sectors like energy, telecommunications, and infrastructure. The U.S. risks being sidelined in a country it once heavily funded and supported. American policymakers recognize that if China becomes Pakistan's primary economic and political partner, it may become harder to influence Pakistan's decisions on matters like regional security, counterterrorism, and trade. The United States has attempted to counterbalance this by offering limited aid packages and participating in diplomatic engagements, but the sheer scale of Chinese investment has made it difficult to compete on equal terms militarily. The China-Pakistan relationship is also evolving. The two countries have conducted joint military exercises, shared technology, and collaborated on defense manufacturing. Pakistan now receives a significant portion of its military hardware from China, including fighter jets, drones, and missile systems. This deepening military partnership poses a challenge for the U.S., which has traditionally used military assistance and defense cooperation as tools of influence. As Pakistan's military becomes more reliant on Chinese systems, its interoperability with U.S. equipment decreases, reducing America's leverage and intelligence sharing capabilities. This shift is particularly concerning given Pakistan's status as a nuclear-armed state and its central role in regional conflicts. Beyond the economic and military dimensions, China also supports Pakistan diplomatically on major global platforms, whether it's defending Pakistan's position on Kashmir at the United Nations or blocking efforts to label certain groups as terrorist organizations. China has emerged as a reliable ally to Islamabad. This has only strengthened the perception that China is replacing the U.S. as Pakistan's primary international partner. For the U.S., this presents a complex challenge: how to engage Pakistan without alienating India, and how to limit Chinese influence without pushing Pakistan into a tighter alliance with Beijing. This geopolitical triangle, U.S., China, and Pakistan, creates a high-stakes environment where every diplomatic or strategic move has broader implications. America knows it cannot fully isolate China's growing reach in Pakistan, but it also understands that maintaining a working relationship with Islamabad may be the only way to slow Beijing's momentum. In this context, even limited cooperation with Pakistan is valuable, not necessarily because of shared values, but because of the larger chessboard where influence is everything. The role of Pakistan in U.S. military interests has been a defining element of their bilateral relationship, particularly since the Cold War and more intensively after 9/11. America's military engagement with Pakistan has always been shaped by strategic utility, geography, and operational convenience rather than deep-rooted alliance based on shared democratic values. Pakistan's location, bordering Afghanistan, Iran, China, and India, places it at the heart of a region where U.S. military and intelligence agencies have long sought influence and operational access. This geographical position has made Pakistan a critical gateway for American military operations, particularly during the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan and the broader war on terror. When the United States launched its campaign in Afghanistan in 2001, Pakistan quickly became indispensable. American troops and NATO forces relied heavily on Pakistani airspace, roads, and ports to transport supplies, fuel, and military hardware into landlocked Afghanistan. The ground lines of communication blocks through Pakistan were the lifeline of the U.S. military campaign, accounting for the movement of more than half of all logistical supplies at certain points. Additionally, the U.S. used Pakistani airbases, at least initially, for drone operations and intelligence gathering. Despite frequent diplomatic disagreements and trust deficits, Washington recognized that it could not sustain its military objectives in Afghanistan without Pakistani cooperation. Beyond logistics, Pakistan has played a central role in counterterrorism and intelligence sharing operations. The U.S. has collaborated with Pakistani intelligence agencies like the Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI) to track and target militant groups such as Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and later ISIS-Khorasan. While the relationship between the CEA and ISI has been marked by both cooperation and tension, the value of actionable intelligence from Pakistani territory has been undeniable. High-profile operations, including the capture or killing of numerous al-Qaeda operatives, were often facilitated by intelligence passed through or sourced in Pakistan. Even the controversial raid that led to the death of Osama bin Laden, while carried out unilaterally by the U.S., was the culmination of years of intelligence focus on Pakistan. Pakistan's internal military capabilities also factor into America's strategic calculations. With one of the largest and most capable armed forces in the Muslim world, and being a nuclear power, Pakistan cannot be ignored in any regional military planning. The U.S. has long sought to build influence within the Pakistani military through arms sales, training programs, and joint exercises. These efforts serve not only to increase Pakistan's operational efficiency, but also to keep channels of communication open and foster a degree of military-to-military trust. Washington's goal has often been to ensure that Pakistan remains stable, its nuclear arsenal secure, and its military aligned, at least partially, with Western interests. Another layer to Pakistan's military significance lies in its influence over militant proxy groups operating in the region. The U.S. has long accused certain factions within the Pakistani establishment of harboring or tolerating groups that attack American or allied interests. Afghanistan, and India. Despite this, Washington often found itself continuing cooperation, calculating that pressuring Pakistan too aggressively could jeopardize broader regional stability. The dual role that Pakistan has played, both as a counterterrorism partner and as a host to extremist elements, has been a source of major frustration, but also a reason for continued engagement. Cutting ties would not eliminate the threat. Instead, it would remove one of the few existing channels of influence. With the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan, the military dynamic is shifting. But it is far from over. The region remains volatile, and the threat of transnational terrorism persists. The U.S. still views Pakistan as an essential part of its counterterrorism network, particularly in terms of monitoring extremist safe havens and maintaining surveillance over developments in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Whether through drone overflights, intelligence sharing, or cooperation on capturing high-value targets, Pakistan remains a vital military interest in U.S. foreign policy strategy. Economic and intelligence cooperation between the United States and Pakistan has been one of the most pragmatic aspects of their relationship, often continuing even when diplomatic ties were strained. Unlike alliances based solely on political alignment or ideological unity, the U.S.-Pakistan partnership in economics and intelligence is driven by mutual interests, security needs, and the necessity of strategic exchange. For the United States, maintaining access to Pakistan's intelligence networks and leveraging economic tools for influence has allowed it to retain a degree of control and engagement in a volatile and competitive region. Economically, the United States has long used aid, both military and civilian, as a tool of engagement with Pakistan. Since the early 2000s, billions of dollars have been funneled into Pakistan through various aid packages, grants, and development assistance programs, while some of this funding has been directed toward education, health, and infrastructure. A large portion has gone toward security assistance. This funding has served two purposes: to stabilize Pakistan's economy in times of crisis, and to ensure Pakistan's cooperation on counterterrorism and regional security. Aid has also been used to strengthen institutions that the U.S. sees as essential for regional stability, such as the judiciary, law enforcement, and civil society. At the same time, economic cooperation has provided the U.S. with an avenue to influence Pakistani policy decisions by offering trade incentives, development support, and financial aid during times of fiscal pressure. Washington has been able to create leverage in negotiations on issues such as counterterrorism cooperation, nuclear nonproliferation, and regional diplomacy. In periods where relations soured, such as after major terrorist incidents or military disagreements, aid was often withheld or redirected, demonstrating how economic tools were used as both carrot and stick in managing the relationship. Trade between the two nations also plays a role, though it is modest compared to Pakistan's trade with other partners like China. The U.S. is among Pakistan's largest export markets, especially for textiles and garments, which are key components of the Pakistani economy. This trade relationship is significant because it supports hundreds of thousands of jobs in Pakistan and provides a degree of economic interdependence. For the United States, maintaining trade ties is also a way to counterbalance China's growing economic footprint and ensure Pakistan does not become fully economically dependent on Beijing. Beyond economics, intelligence cooperation has formed the backbone of the U.S.-Pakistan relationship, especially since 9/11. Inter-Services Intelligence Agency (ISI) and the Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) have worked closely, though often with mutual suspicion, to track terrorist threats, share surveillance data, and coordinate operations against high-value targets. Pakistan's intelligence network has deep roots in the region, with long-standing knowledge of militant groups operating along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border and inside Pakistan itself. For U.S. intelligence, Access to this information is vital for monitoring threats to American interests, both in the region and abroad. This cooperation has helped in capturing or neutralizing numerous terrorist operatives, dismantling cells, and gaining insight into the workings of extremist networks. However, it has not been without controversy. There have been many instances where the U.S. accused elements within the Pakistani intelligence establishment of playing a double game, collaborating with some militant groups while targeting others. Despite these tensions, the intelligence partnership has continued because both sides recognize the cost of disengagement. The U.S. cannot afford to lose real-time access to intelligence from one of the most unstable regions in the world, and Pakistan benefits from U.S. technology, training, and international legitimacy in its counterterrorism operations. Even today, as formal military engagement has decreased post-Afghanistan, intelligence cooperation continues behind closed doors. Drone operations, counter-extremist monitoring, and regional threat assessments still depend on Pakistani input. In many ways, the intelligence alliance acts as a hidden thread that binds the two countries together, even when political rhetoric may suggest otherwise. This practical, behind-the-scenes relationship is one of the strongest reasons why U.S. Pakistan ties persist, despite public disagreements and shifting alliances.